What's up, everyone? Welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. In today's video, we are talking about a situation that I got myself into by testing my diesel heater in my garage. Almost everyone who follows this channel does so because of the diesel heater content that I posted last year, where I was trying to burn waste motor oil in my heater. I did a whole bunch of experiments with all sorts of weird and wonderful chemicals, as well as hacked the heater apart and tried to do all sorts of modifications. Most of those experiments ended in complete failure. Many of you warned me about the dangers of using a diesel heater in the way that I was using it installed, the way I had it installed, and I say installed because it was sitting on a shelf. You warned me about diesel particulate matter, carbon monoxide poisoning, and the high likelihood of fire because there was cardboard box sitting very close to it. I don't think I ever disputed those facts, but I am a little bit of a reckless person at times, and I just accepted the risk. This video, we are going to focus on some of the diesel particulate matter issues. Before we go any further with the video, I need to say this. This is absolutely not the fault of the heater. These are wonderful things. I now have one installed in my truck and I installed one in my buddy's 4Runner. Videos have been posted on those. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. If you're interested in one of these completely safe heaters when used in the proper manner, there is an affiliate link as well as a discount code in the description below. I've been using a couple of these now, and when you use them the way they are intended to be used, they are wonderful, safe things. I've had numerous people tell me that I need to be more careful with diesel fumes when working on the diesel heater, and I knew that was the case. It's pretty obvious. But I've also had people tell me I need to be more careful using box cutters and knives and screwdrivers and jacking stuff up and whatever. Anyway, so when you hear that stuff that frequently, you kind of glaze over a bunch of it and kind of ignore stuff that is actually important. But anyway, I did know that the diesel heater was making a bunch of smoke, and I tried not to spend too much time in here with it, but there is quite a bit of evidence in my garage, and I'm actually surprised that nobody has pointed it out. It could just be camera angles or whatnot, but there is quite a bit of evidence in my garage that the diesel fumes are, getting on everything. I'm building a CNC mill and it's going in this corner over here, and I'm starting to think about lighting, how I'm going to actually light the enclosure so that you guys can see what I'm doing on camera. And I took a cabinet out of the corner here and started looking at this wall and thinking, man, I've got to clean that wall. And a bunch of the stuff that's on that wall is basically diesel particulate matter. I've had this garage now. I built this garage myself and I've been in it for several years, and this door has always remained fairly clean. And I noticed last winter and this summer, I've been noticing that this door is very dirty. So the reason why it looks kind of funny now, I just cleaned this side, so you'll see a divider line. I actually wiped this side down once, but I've washed this side off. It still needs to be rinsed, so it is a little bit dirty still. But you can clearly see the line between where I cleaned and where I didn't. Now, I've been in this garage. I was in this garage for like 9 years working on projects, welding and milling and burning all sorts of nonsense, and it took one winter of experimenting with the diesel heater to do this to my door. If you look here, that is quite clearly carbony, sooty stuff. And I knew this because if you look around where the roof meets where the ceiling meets the wall, you can see very dark patches all around there, and it's even more dark right where the heater is. And if you look around on my ceiling, you can see these patches everywhere where the diesel particulate matter gathered just on everything. This is my exhaust fan, and I used it for many, many years without it looking this disgusting. As you can see, there is now a thick coating of carbon and soot on the walls here. That is not terribly surprising, but what is a little bit shocking is this pile of stuff here. That is ash from my exhaust. I continually have problems with the pulley system on this. I just did a pulley repair. I built a sleeve in my lathe because the pulley was wore out a bit. Welcome to my attic. What I was trying to explain is that I frequently have problems with my ventilation fan. I'll tell you a little bit about it, although this video isn't about my ventilation system. It is a little bit weird. I have a furnace fan mounted in my joist cavity, so it pulls air through the joists. I don't have any ductwork whatsoever. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is that I have to come up here 4 or 5 times a year and deal with issues of my pulley coming loose. I just did a repair on it, and hopefully that repair means that I don't have to continue coming up here. But in the past I have, and because of those frequent visits up here, I know that that is the first time that there has ever been that type or that much debris built up inside of that area. Another thing is that I always have birds nesting in my ventilation. The exhaust just vents out through there. And every year I have to deal with birds making nests in that vent. I chase them away. Every day I come out and I pull twigs out of that vent. This is the first year in 13 years, I think, that I haven't had to do that, because the fumes coming out of there, even though the heater hasn't been running in 6 months, the fumes are nasty. Look at the silly kitten. What is he doing out there? Are you going to escape? I just got done telling people this was so gross, not even the... Oh, you are going to be so dirty. Look at yourself. Look at yourself. Oh, you're gross. Look at your belly. In the relatively near future, I will be releasing a video about upgrading the wiring in my garage so that I can run the CNC mill that I am currently converting. Video series on that if you are interested. Why does any of this matter? Well, because the first thing I noticed when I pulled the cover off of this panel is the diesel particulate matter that was making its way in through all of the cracks. All of the outlets, switches, and any other place where air can make its way through, I have noticed this same thing. There is diesel particulate matter making its way in everywhere that air can move. I'm going to clean up the wall. I'm going to clean up the door and clean up this wall. I'm probably going to have to do some touch-up painting. But what all this means is that even though I knew it, and even though a bunch of you guys have already told me this, I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful when playing with a diesel heater, which is probably gonna mean that my experiments are quite limited. I don't really know that I wanna punch a hole directly through my wall. We'll see what happens. Either way, I've got some cleaning to do. Once again, obviously not the fault of the diesel heater, but I am going to have to change the way that I go about doing things because I don't want to die from this, and even if I don't die, it is really nasty. It's going to take me years to clean up all of the junk that built up in just a couple of months of testing. So I'm gonna have to build some sort of test rig. I still do plan on continuing on with tests, but what I'm likely gonna do is try to make something that attaches to my window. Then I can mount the heater outside and blow some of the hot air inside. Quite honestly, I'm not terribly worried about the heat. This is all about the experiments, but it would be nice to benefit from some of the heat because, well, it's Canada and it gets cold. If after all of that you are still interested in purchasing one of these heaters, there is an affiliate link as well as a discount code in the description below. You'll also find a link to my Patreon account as well as my Teespring. If you can't support me in that way, you can always leave a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything, as well as getting involved in the comment section. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.